My idea of smart cities is more around, I suppose, developing smart places, smart communities. Obviously, Balbriggan is not a city. It's a townland in a kind of urban but suburban and rural setting. So the idea of a smart district or a smart city place within Balbriggan is more around, I suppose, using technology to try and solve challenges in this particular area.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an ideal location. It's one of the most multicultural towns in all of Ireland. It's got one of the youngest populations, and it's been one of the fastest growing towns in Europe over the last 5 years. So from that perspective, I think the ability to kind of innovate and adapt provides an amazing environment for that. Building on some of the previous projects that we've seen in the past, you have now led up to Balbriggan being known as a decarbonization zone, and so that provides the impetus and the foundation for potential capital and influx of funding to support the green transition in this area. And we've also worked on some creative projects in different sectors as well that laid the foundation of a skills base and some of the other components that are needed. The green transition, sure, we need skills in the engineering realm and other the tangible components, but a lot of the skill sets that are needed in the green transition are around change making, they're around kind of innovative thinking, creative mindsets, those kinds of things that would be softer skills as well.
The smart city movement is quite an interesting one. It's one that kind of fosters innovation and an ecosystem. So I suppose we would see a lot of involvement of local businesses, small to medium enterprises in the smart city space. So for the likes of Balbriggan, we've already seen a drone delivery company set up here. So it's interesting to see the different sorts of emerging technology and using Balbriggan as a place to kind of trial and test new and emerging technologies. Specifically, stuff that we've seen, kind of projects we've been involved with, have involved the likes of using IoT sensors, water quality sensors, air quality sensors, mini weather stations. The Smart Balbriggan district is specifically focused on kind of community and involving the community in the smart district. So we've been focusing on research and citizen science projects within the district itself.
I mean, I think because of the components of the socioeconomics that were mentioned before, but in addition to its location, I mean, it's on the M1 corridor right here, close to the airport, on the path from Belfast to Dublin. It's a satellite town for Dublin as well. It's connected in the Smart Districts project through Smart Dublin for a reason, which is a partnership with the Connect Centre at Trinity College and other universities. That's a microcosm project that kind of shows where the reason this was chosen as the town for that project is that it has all these different components from a Fingal County Council perspective to kind of test things here in a way that you might not be able to test in a rural environment. A lot of the innovations in green transition are focused in city centers where it's easier to activate active travel solutions and other components in compact areas, but it neglects a lot of the public transport infrastructure requirements for urban areas that are really strongly connected to rural areas. And this area has both. It's a rural area, but it's strongly connected to those urban environments. And I think because it has kind of that mixture and it's still connected to the city centers, it provides it as a physical location that's prime for the green transition components. There's also a lot of industrialized lands here. There's a layout and a strategy by the council out here from a public body perspective, which can be a quite inviting environment for private industry that want to grow opportunities in the green transition as well.
When it comes to the green transition, I suppose Balbriggan is now a designated decarbonisation zone. It's also one of these Smart Dublin districts. So when we look at tech and the green transition, technology and digital is, I suppose, important for measuring the impacts of reducing your carbon footprint. So having kind of a database of information is something where we want to get to. With Smart Balbriggan, we've got sensors collecting data, but one centralised platform is ideally where we would see the future vision to I suppose, capture all of that and make sure we're measuring all of it
From a personal perspective, as an entrepreneur, every time other people hear things that are negative energy or see a challenge, I personally see opportunity, right? I mean, anybody that sees the green transition as a negative or something that is fearful is somebody that is thinking business as usual. And that's a natural thing. There's no reason to fault those people for that either, because it can be scary. Entrepreneurs in general are not as fearful of those kinds of things. It is going to take more of an entrepreneurial spirit from a larger portion of the population for these transitions to happen in the amount of time that we require them to, for sure. So you're still going to need those change makers to lead the way, but we can have an environment like the one that's here that's already adopting the creative industries sector. It's already adopting more of a mindset of thinking kind of how do we move quickly, how do we move forward. You're creating an environment where fosters the attraction of entrepreneurs and people that are willing to think that way. But when it comes down to the communication, it's really messaging, it's really branding. We've branded these things as crisis and climate change and words that generally humans are afraid of. I think you're going to see over the next 5 years those words and that nomenclature change. I think that it's really going to move towards what are the opportunities here, how do we innovate and change our world for a better place. A lot of people that would be even on the far right of the equation would say negative things and push back, but the people that are really thinking progressively would say, well, what if we make all these changes and make it a better world anyway? And I think that there's so much opportunity in the green transition that it far outweighs the negatives, but it is largely down to messaging.
Because the, I suppose, smart city space and decarbonisation zones are really in their infancy, the more we can learn from other cities, other towns, on the way they're capturing that data and I suppose what smart city technologies they're using, it's of benefit to us. So yeah, we really value partnering up with cities to learn from them and making sure I suppose it's good in knowledge sharing so that you don't make the same mistakes. A city, if they're more ahead of you in a certain area, you can learn from them and be able to kind of grow from that.